where you can click on that and see the different t-shirts available to you, and that's going to give you one free t-shirt, and I'll be giving that away right before we go into that upper bracket, so make sure you're following the stream so you are eligible for said giveaway. We'll be doing that a little bit later. But talking a little bit more about this, are we going to see a Holy Pally God comp versus an RMP, you think?
I think so. I don't think Starship is here. I don't know. It feels like he's not.
I don't think he's here either.
Taking a break from the game, it seems like. I haven't seen a lot of him playing, so maybe Elite's kind of just left here to try and deal with it. But I mean, Holy Paladin God comp I think is a decent comp for them into the RMP, and they know that it's going to be Rogue Mage Priest.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I mean, I think Starship's actually on vacation. I don't know if he's taking a break from the game at the moment. For this tournament anyway. I knew he was available for the last tournament, but I don't think they wanted to play RMD against like God comps and stuff. But going into this, I mean, they're going to probably want to play Holy Pally God comp regardless against RMP, as Cloud9 did quite well against them with that composition. But maybe LaLouie has learned something from facing Cloud9. Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, people learn, right? That's a thing.
Dude, this is a tough break for LaLouie. Their first game, they face a Holy Pally God comp, which is a counter to RMP, and then in the lower bracket, they got Tempo Storm. Oh man, that's why it's really, really important that you have that you try to utilize the 4-player roster. I think because this can happen to anybody. It really can.
This was season 8, man. If this was season 8, Naj should just take it all.
If this was season 8. I think Naj's main team, like his main team name for GCD in the past tournaments was Season 8. Play on words. But, yeah, we're going to be going through all the way to the second round of this upper bracket, guys. And then we're going to be going live once again tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. So make sure to hit that follow button. Also, follow us on Twitter to be notified at all the cool, super awesome things that we're doing with WoW Esports. And I would really greatly appreciate that. Follow this guy over here, too. Nope, wrong way. This guy. Follow that guy on Twitter, too. Actually, speaking of Jinx shirts, I'm actually wearing one right now. Clutter got me this super sick Paladin shirt from Jinx, and I'm a pretty big fan of it, I have to say.
Do you even play Paladin?
I am actually on a Paladin right now. What up?
I don't know.
Okay, fine, I'll prove it to you.
We need some Paladin.
Look, I'm on a Paladin, man. Boom.
You should duel me on stream.
I don't want to embarrass myself with that. Hello? Alright guys, we're going to be jumping into the Grand Arena. It's LaLouie versus Tempo Storm. We have a Holy Paladin God comp, a Shadow Priest, Frost Mage, and Holy Paladin for Tempo Storm going up against Rogue Mage Priest for LaLouie.
Yep.
Shout out to Deuce7 for that subscription. Thank you, man, and welcome to the team. You're our 131st subscriber. Thank you, bro.
I'm curious to see if Tempo Storm's playstyle is going to affect how this matchup plays out. I think Cloud9 played a lot more standard. Jamili's team, Tempo Storm, plays it much more aggressive and forward. And I mean, there's advantages and disadvantages to both. It's not necessarily wrong or right. But I wonder if that's going to be an opening for LaLouie, or if Jamili's just going to play it out standard, because he's capable of it as well. It's just, I think it's one of those things where preferred, he'd rather be go, go, go.
All right, here the gates have opened. And, you know, Gex has always surprised me with some of the craziest Master Spells. And a perfectly timed Master Spell very, very well may be the series here. But here we go. Cheap Shot goes out onto Peekaboo, and Fear as well. Hand of Sacrifice coming out from Elite before he gets put into that Deep Freeze. Full Polymorph is going to land, and it looks like they're going on to Jamili, who doesn't have that Hand of Sacrifice, so Elite didn't get broken out of that, I don't believe. Frostjaw now going on to Elite out of that as well, but the Execution Sentence Wings is negating a lot of this damage from LaLouie's opener, it would seem. Devouring Plague now going out onto Moj from Peekaboo. It looks like they want to turn this pressure back around. Gex not caught into any CC just yet. Sitting on that pillar, line of sighting for now. Moj spamming out those polymorphs, trying to prevent any of the oncoming pressure. There's a Cheap Shot onto Peekaboo. Naj switching the damage over him. Frost on to Jamili. Polymorph on Elite. Cross CC like crazy. It's going to force the disperse. Jamili actually ice blocking out of that, getting interrupted on the polymorph out of that. Full kidney shot into him. Peekaboo still in a bit of trouble. No disperse available to him as Elite is put into that Deep Freeze. Polymorph onto Jamili. And this is the smoke bomb coming out for Naj, but it's going to get bopped off by Elite. But man, LaLouie's got some momentum. Oh my gosh!
It's not over! What the?
Oh my gosh.
What happened? What happened? Did Naj eat some beans? Like, what just happened? That was so much more momentum than we saw in the last series.
Unbelievable, man. Taking a quick look at that replay, I can't believe that actually just happened. Bubble coming out from Elite, the smoke bomb onto Peekaboo. The bubble is going to get mass dispelled off, and Elite's going to get interrupted on his cast, and down goes Peekaboo. Oh my gosh. I'm actually going to watch that again. I'm not even kidding. Holy crow. The mass dispels coming out from Gex. Are you kidding me? They found their momentum, they found their stride, and they nailed it in. Crazy.
My god, everything was just like perfect. It was just like the smoke bomb right as their CC ended on Elite, and then Elite ran into the bomb with the bubble, and Gex MDs it, then he gets kicked. Disperse fades. Jamili even blocked to try and save his team. Like, they got so many cooldowns even if they didn't get the kill, but they're able to keep their momentum rolling. Gex timing that massive spell and winning the game for his team, really, because I'm pretty sure Elite would have been able to stabilize there. But that was definitely a different LaLouie than we saw in the last series.
Yeah,
Maybe
that was...
confidence. Maybe they just don't like Jamili. Maybe they're trying harder.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe there's some grudge. Maybe there's some grudge between these two teams.
Oh man. Maybe there's some grudges, man. Nas, Mojay, and Gex coming here to take out Tempo Storm. But that was a crazy game number one, and LaLouie's got to be feeling so very good, taking such an impressive game off of Tempo Storm out of this best of 5 series. Can we get some holy crows in the chat, everybody, because that was pretty insane. Those massive spells and the setup. They saw the hand of sacrifice on the Peekaboo, they just switch it on to Jamili. So preventing the polymorphs from being broken. It's like that synergy and that reaction time, that kind of play that I just love to see here in GCD TV. But can Tempo Storm bring it back? You know that they've had some pretty crazy plays themselves. They can definitely do it. If there's a team that could do it, it's definitely Tempo Storm. They just got to bring it back, man. Just got to bring it back.
I would say the main change from the last time is that they're going after Peekaboo almost exclusively, whereas last time they were going after the Mage. So this time going after the Shadow Priest, it looks a lot better for them. So I would imagine they're going to keep doing that. Interesting pick on the Blades Edge Arena. Maybe they just want Gex to have nowhere to run in line of sight, so it's smart in that sense. I'm curious to see how LaLouie are going to play the map. Already getting a sap onto Elite. Who are they going to open on here? Peekaboo going into that Spectral Guys. Double Pet Nova out from Mojay. Are they going to deep freeze Elite out of that sap? It's a question. They land the half sheep instead. Peekaboo caught on the cheap shot. They're going after Jamili's throat right now. Down to 30%. Forced to use that first block almost immediately. Canceling it. Going for a deep sheep of his own to rotate the pressure over onto Mojay potentially. Naj caught in that stun in the center field. Gex actually trinketing. Jamili sitting through that full fear, not able to capitalize on much. We see the Frost Draw onto a lead. He's going to Aura Mastery that. He's got his Avenging Wrath rolling. Good polymorphs up from Mojay and Peekaboo, though. He sat through that full polymorph. Elite unable to dispel. Now Jamili getting polymorphed. Elite trying to recover his team, trying to find a fair footing here for the next attack. Mojay seems to be the target. Pre-barrier down from Gex to try and reduce some damage onto Mojay here. Jamili still getting polymorphed out. Looks like Peekaboo is going to be the target. The smoke bomb gets dropped. How are they going to react to the situation? Elite caught to the deep freeze. Garrod onto Jamili. The sheep lands. Elite still has bubble. Peekaboo still has disperse. They're trying to hold on to it. Not a lot of damage actually following it up here from Naj and Mojay. Elite getting into that half sheep now. There's the Ice Novas out from Mojay. Trying to force the dispersion out from Peekaboo. A full fear landed onto Jamili. They go for the massive spell. Elite bubbles anyway. Deep freeze now over onto Gex. Can they get any CC on him? They do land the full sheep. Mojay could be in trouble. But did he get the Holy Fire off and break the sheep? Something broke that.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what broke that, but that's a big deal moving forward. Deep freeze onto Elite. And can they follow it up with any more CC? Cheap shot into Peekaboo as he takes a whole bunch of pressure. Bop's going to come out from Elite to negate a lot of that damage from Naj's dance at this point. Full polymorph does land on Elite, however. Bop being stolen by Jamili at this point. Peekaboo still the kill target. The double fear coming out onto Gex and Naj as Mojay's all alone. Devouring Plague landing on him as well. Into the Horrify. Pain Suppression is going to be caught by him, but isn't going to matter, and it's going to force the bubble regardless of that Pain Suppression. Hodge onto Naj. Devouring Plague going out into him as well as Gex is put into more and more CC. It's going to force the Cloak of Shadows. Mojay out of his block at this point is also vulnerable once again. Elite now completely DR'd to the polymorph. It looks like Tempo Storm has found some momentum moving forward into this game.
Elite still caught into that full fear. Peekaboo seems to be the target for LaLouie. Avenging Wrath out from Elite. He still has to deal with the counterspell. Doing a good job just casting. Mojay not in line of sight to interrupt him. Naj kind of just chasing after Peekaboo, trying to connect. Gex getting fully feared by Peekaboo. Elite getting full sheep by Moj. Who's going to be in trouble first is the question. Gex leaving the CC, gets some heals out onto Moj. He's going to gnome out of that Frostjaw. Elite caught in that deep freeze. Will Moj get the sheep? He lands the half sheep. Peekaboo still under fire. Goes to that spectral guys, jumps into the shadows real quick, but even the shadows can't protect him. Forced to disperse now with that save by the light proc. A lot of cooldowns overlap there. Elite's last line of defense is his trinket, which isn't very much. Moj still has one more block. Gex has his trinket. There's the full fear onto Elite. Moj has to be a little bit cautious though. Full fear onto Naj. Gex easily healing through that damage though with no CC. Now caught into a full sheep. Full Frostjaw over onto Elite. Can Moj get the CC? He lands the full sheep. Can they finish Peekaboo off? No, they can't. Moj instead forced to block. Peekaboo gripping Elite back to the pillar over here, trying to recover, restabilize here as Moj is now finally out of ice blocks. No damage reduction cooldowns available, but there's the deep freeze onto Elite. Jamili getting swapped to. He does have one more block remaining. I can't help but feel that this swap really isn't going to get too much done. Shadow Dance available in about 8 more seconds, and that's when we're going to be looking for the kill out from LaLouie.
You're absolutely right. Save of the Light is keeping Jamili alive for now, but now he has both of his ice blocks available to him now. Tempo Storm turning it around with the Horrify onto Moj. It's actually going to get dispelled, and the full Polymorph lands onto Elite. Looks like Jamili is going to be the kill target for now. The block lands. Mass Dispel goes out from Gex to get Jamili out of that block early, but Elite, not caught in any CC, is going to give Jamili a whole bunch of heals that he needs, and it looks like LaLouie is going to pull back for now, rate the reset, and go for it once again, and it is a tied game, I feel like, in terms of cooldowns. Moj without that block available to him, but Gex with the Trinket Pain Suppression, it could definitely go either way. Tempo Storm down one game in this best of 5 series, definitely need to bring it back here. Cheap shot onto Peekaboo as Elite's put into the deep full Polymorph, even the Frostjaw and Jamili making it a 3v1 situation onto Peekaboo. Oh my gosh, he does have that Disperse available to him in 25 seconds, but can he survive until then? Elite's Wings Execution Sentence is going to come back as he gets out of that CC, keeping Peekaboo offensive and surviving, it looks like, until that next Disperse is back.
Yeah, that was really important. That was critical. They were moving for the kill there. Can't but feel that swap on the Jamili that was a bit wasted. I would rather seen that dance on the Peekaboo. We see Moj under fire, a lot of burst following it up. He's trying to get out of line of sight, but he just can't. Gex not able to get enough healing out, and Tempo Storm are going to tie the series 1-1.
He had 10 seconds left. 10 seconds left on that block, man. He was so close. Tempo Storm had the smallest window ever, and they took it, and they landed it, and they took the kill. And there's game number 2. Is going to go to Tempo Storm in this best of 5 series. It's tied 1-1. 1-1. That was Tempo Storm's map choice, however. Now it's going to go back over to LaLouie, and LaLouie is going to get to choose what map they want next. And where do you think this RMP is going to bring it?
A place where Gex has a pillar, probably. So not Blades Edge Arena, which is now already gone, so I don't really need to worry about it. But probably Tempo's, or I was about to say Tempo Storm, but I meant to say Tiger's Peak.
Tiger's Peak,
I
yeah.
Tiger's Peak is probably pretty standard for them to go to next. Both teams have fear, so they're both susceptible on Dalaran, but maybe Dalaran could give them a bit more momentum. There's a lot less distance for Naj to have to cover to reconnect on those bursts. So
Holy crow.
Dalaran.
Sorry, I just actually got a whisper to check donations, and I'm checking donations right now. And I'm just going to read them off real quick. We got a $3 donation from Reckful, and he says, Jamili washed up, boys. Thank you, Reckful, for that $3, buddy. We got a $2 donation from Sorrows. He says, what's up? I love the stream. Great work, great production, and most of all, amazing casting. Thank you. Also, I have a question. Is the whole bracket played tonight, or will it continue tomorrow? Nope, the rest of the bracket all the way to the finals will continue tomorrow. So thank you for that support and that donation. I really do appreciate it. And then we also got a $450 donation. $450 donation from none other than a friend. And it reads, Merry Christmas. Hope you'll add this to the GPL Finals prize pool. Thank you so much, a friend. I really do appreciate that. It actually blows me away. Thank you. Can we get some Bible thumps in chat, man? Because I'm about to cry.
If you don't know who he is, how is he your friend?
Because he's a friend. But here we go. We're going to be jumping into the next game. And it is Tiger's Peak. I'm going to play the intro because I need a break. Alright, welcome everybody to Tiger's Peak. It's Tempo Storm versus LaLouie. It's Holy Pally God Comp versus RMP. And holy crap. Oh no!
I still think that LaLouie kind of threw away a potential win there going on to Jamili, who still had one more block, whereas Peekaboo had no dispersion. I think it would have been maybe they just couldn't connect. Maybe Peekaboo was doing a good job to stay out of range, but I feel like they kind of missed an opportunity there when Peekaboo was vulnerable. Let's see if they can find an opportunity on Tiger's Peak. A much smaller map. Gex will have a pillar to line of sight CC. Really important for him to avoid a lot of it. Naj moving forward. Full stab onto Elite. Peekaboo caught into that full fear from Gex. Cheap shot out of the fear. Looks like Peekaboo is going to be the target. Jamili getting silenced up here temporarily. Elite into the half shape now. Peekaboo caught into that 1 second stun. Now into full Garrote silence. Shadow Dance out from Naj. Dispersion is forced. Proccing the save by the light as well. A tad bit of an overlap there. Peekaboo trying to reverse some pressure here with the silence over onto Mojay. Gex caught into the shape. Naj caught into the Hodge. Mojay trying to line of sight, doing a good job avoiding damage here, but they do reconnect. There's the horrified Gex caught into that full fear. Mojay getting bursted down, forced to block down at 17%. Peekaboo getting kidney shot here temporarily. Doesn't look like they can set anything up off that kidney shot though. Elite actually getting counterspelled on his heal, but Mojay still in trouble on hypothermia. Gex needs to get some heals rolling onto him. Saving grace after saving grace, tops Mojay off. Double Garrote silence out from Naj, actually forced to use a vanish defensively, and now that they've used all that defensively, they're going to be lacking damage for quite some time.
Tempo Storm's looking good, man. They're looking good going into game number 3. Peekaboo actually getting bopped out of that stun, but he's just going to get stunned up again. Jamili offensively blocking as well. Mojay stealing that bop for now. It's not going to really do all that much against the God Comp. Devouring Plagues going out as well. Oh my gosh. I think Gex actually trinketed out of that second polymorph, but he did Holy Fire out of one of them, which is a pro move. Jamili getting cheap shotted up now. He's still on that hypothermia and potentially vulnerable to a swap onto him. Elite still has that bubble available to him to heal him through it, but Mojay is the one who's just been taking so much damage throughout this entire game. He has still one block available to him, but Gex without a trinket for 2 entire minutes. Mojay's got to be careful moving forward into this game. Tempo Storm seems to be ahead moving forward, but like LaLouie's proven time and time again that it doesn't matter who seems ahead. They can turn it around at any moment. Hodge goes out onto Naj, Horrify onto Gex into a deep freeze. Mojay catching a whole bunch of damage. Naj trying to get some counter pressure with this death from above dance onto Jamili. Cheap shot out of that as well. Jamili's going to have another ice block available to him, but Mojay's still in a lot of trouble, just being chased down by Peekaboo. Devouring Plagues going out as well, catching a whole bunch of heals as Gex's fear is going to wear out, and Mojay holding on to his second block for now.
Yeah, the one advantage with the disc priest is if he's not CC'd, you're almost guaranteed to survive. We see the smoke bomb dropped onto Peekaboo. He's going to trick it out. Bubble traded out for Elite, a 2-for-1 special. LaLouie forcing a lot of cooldowns. Elite gets Master Spelled on that bubble. He's got to be careful with his casts. Doesn't want a repeat of game number 1, but Gex into the full deep sheet. Mojay with one more block remaining. Surely is going to have to trade it out. Getting Ice Lance down. Jamili trying to finish him off. There's the second and final block for at least another minute for Mojay. Naj having some pressure rotated onto him. He has to be aware of it. He doesn't have Cloak of Shadows. Gex trying to get some heals rolling here. Garrote silence over onto Jamili. Who are they going to go after? I would imagine Peekaboo, but they've still got to burn through that dispersion. Maybe they do make a swap. Sacrifice out for Elite here. Mojay holding onto the deep freeze, waiting for that to fade out. Looking for a sheep over onto Elite here pretty soon. Defensive sheeps on the Jamili. Mojay getting gripped back by Gex, but Jamili's looking for a sheep of his own. He's going to block to get the sheep, but he gets Garrote silence on his block. Well done. Not shutting him down. Now Jamili with no blocks remaining. I'm sure that they're going to go after him. Death from above. Jamili getting punished for this over-aggression. Elite trying to top him off. Bop over onto Jamili. Mojay not able to spell steal it off. He is going to sit through that. Naj, Mojay, and Gex all in retreat, looking to try and get a re-stealth and a reset here. Jamili down all of his blocks. Elite with no bubble and no trinket is definitely a big opening for LaLouie here.
Yeah, Peekaboo in stealth looking to try to get a fear. He doesn't actually land it. He gets frozen out of time. And there's the full Hodge on to Naj. Mojay all alone as Gex put into the polymorph. He's just trying to line of sight for now. Has no block available to him, and he just gets that block back available to him. Deep freeze onto Elite. Can Mojay land the polymorph? He does. He lands the full polymorph, and that's going to force the disperse instantly from Peekaboo as Jamili's also being put to the fear. But Jamili's also a vulnerable target without a single block available to him. Elite without any outs. Tempo Storm's got to be feeling the heat right about now. Elite desperately trying to get the heals off onto Peekaboo as Peekaboo's kiting Naj around. Naj with his cloak though is not going to be kiteable. Full kidney shot goes out onto Peekaboo. This is Dance out of line of sight. Elite getting stopped by that Frost Jaw in the background into a full polymorph. Surely this will be Peekaboo's end. The Garrote goes out. The save by the light gonna proc as well. Elite still in that polymorph into a full fear. How is Peekaboo still alive? He's going to catch an execution sentence before the deep freeze from Elite, and Elite is going to keep Peekaboo alive through that CC chain. Now the Hodge goes out on to Naj, and Moj taking a whole bunch of the pressure. He has that block still available to him if he needs that, and it looks like he's going to stabilize for now as they set up back onto Peekaboo. The full polymorph lands on Elite. Peekaboo going to trinket out of the full kidney from Naj. He's trying to get the mass dispel, but Naj is just going to go ahead and grow up Jamili and Peekaboo to try to prevent any sort of counter pressure or any sort of out. But now they're trying to switch it around over onto Moj once again. Horrify out onto Naj for cross CC, and Moj sees it. He's just going to line of sight for now. Peekaboo taking a bit of pressure, and Lee actually getting breaking out of that full fear. There's the DR kidney shot onto Peekaboo. Elite's using an Aura Mastery to heal through this all for now, and it looks like Tempo Storm is somehow stabilized going into dampening. We're at 2% dampening at this point, but Death from Above lands onto Peekaboo, dipping him down to 40% health here. Elite getting put through the triple DR polymorph into the full blind. Surely this is gonna be it, as Peekaboo gets the double fear on both the DPS and is still alive. Kidney shot onto Elite just to stop the healing from coming in, and Peekaboo shielding himself, trying to get away. He's gonna grip Elite into the smoke bomb, but it doesn't matter. Tempo Storm is gonna lose to LaLouie in game number 3.
My God, what the?
Dude, that
no one is spamming Live Lord. Why is no one spamming Live Lord?
I don't know, but there needs to be some Live Lords going in, even if that game's already over and he died, because the grip into the smoke bomb and the shields on himself, as well as the master spell on the fear, like, you gotta give credit where credit is due. Tempo Storm deserves a little bit of credit, but LaLouie showing him what's what here in game number 3, and they are just one game away from eliminating Tempo Storm completely from the tournament. And, you know, going into this game, Supa, we were just talking about how LaLouie just had a hell of a bracket. Like, the first 2 games they had was like a counter to him, but they are pulling it out, man.
In defiance. They do not want to go down without a fight, and they're definitely making Tempo Storm work for it. I think they're going to be sweating moving into potentially their final game of the tournament. Tempo Storm facing elimination to LaLouie here in game number 4 potentially. And I'm really curious to see what map specifically Tempo Storm go for. Blade's Edge looked like it worked really well for them, so maybe Runes of Lordaeron would work for them as well. Just removing the pillar. The main weaknesses of the Discipline Priest are crowd control, and that's pretty much it. If you don't have crowd control on him, he will be able to heal through a lot of the damage, if not all of it, so they need maps where they can prevent him from avoiding CC. So I would expect probably Runes of Lordaeron coming out for game number 4, and LaLouie's going to have a hard time dealing with it. They did not look very good on Blade's Edge Arena with the ability to connect to targets and keep Gex out of CC, because there was not very many points to line of sight. So Runes of Lordaeron probably an expected map 4.
Yeah, I would say so too. But man, Tempo Storm's got 2 games ahead of him to be able to win. I don't know. We're going to see what happens here very, very shortly. Taking a quick look at that bracket. It's LaLouie versus Tempo Storm. Just so everyone does aware, this series is going to determine who gets eliminated from the tournament. This is their second chance moving forward. So, I don't know. LaLouie coming all the way from the qualifiers here to prove themselves here in the main tournament. And they're doing just that. And here we go. We're going to go to Tolvaron Arena. We'll see you guys in there in just one hot minute. Alright guys, we're going to be getting in here in just a second. We're going to have a redo of the queue. Looks like some people weren't ready with their gear or something. We're going to be jumping into the games in just a second.
You hyped everyone up with that intro, and then
I know.
Back of the hype, it's kind of like...
Here,
I won't say what I was actually thinking. Never mind. All right.
You guys can check out my...
PvP.
You guys can check out my sweet, awesome Paladin. So that's a thing. No, but for real, we're going to be getting into the games here very, very shortly. Thank you guys for all of the love and support you've been sending our way today. I really do appreciate it. Shout out to Do7 for our most recent subscriber. He is our 131st subscriber. So thank you so much, dude, for that support. And at 200 subscribers, we will be hosting that 1v1 All-Star tournament. And, you know, one of probably the most anticipated class tournament of that All-Star tournament is probably going to be the mages. Thank you so much, Babina, for that 4-month resub. Babina. I think that's it. Thank you for that 4-month resub. I really do appreciate it. The support is bananas.
Oh man, have you tried spectating with the old character models on?
I have not, no.
We should try an old model game.
So just to give you guys a quick update on what that tournament entails, is that it isn't just, say, for example, rogue versus mage. That's not actually what happens. It's actually mage versus mage. Like, it's class-specific tournaments. So it'd be class mirrors, if you will. Well, because obviously there's different classes have different advantages against one another, so it wouldn't be super competitive, right? So instead we're going to have separate, smaller brackets for each individual class to see who's the best at dueling 1v1 of their class. And hopefully we're going to have people like Jamili and stuff like that coming and competing. Thank you so much, Metaphorics. I really appreciate that sub. You are my 132nd sub. Welcome to the team, dude. Really do appreciate it, man. It's your guys' support that keeps this thing alive.
She did kick him.
Alright, here we go. We're going to be jumping into the next map. And of course, it's Overrun Arena. Holy moly, the subtrain has begun. Felgon live. I'm getting better at this, guys.
You're slowly learning how to speak while you're reading their names.
Thank you so much, man, and welcome to the team. You get a cringe machine thumbs up, and here we go. We're gonna jump into the game. It's LaLouie versus Tempo Storm. Game number 4.
Right. Tempo Storm needs your energy, ladies and gentlemen, if you want them to stay in the tournament. They're facing elimination potentially here in game number 4. If you love Peekaboo, Jamili, and Elite, they need your energy. If you're a supporter of LaLouie, however, Naj, Moj, and Gex are 1 game away from advancing.
Just 1 game away, man. Dude, that would be kind of an upset if Naj's RMP takes out Tempo Storms in the lower bracket. Holy Paladin God Comp, which is Shadow Priest, Frost Mage, Holy Paladin. Here we go. The gates are about to open.
Yeah, we can see Naj and Stealth. LaLouie moving forward to the far side, playing very patient. They don't want to get popped out of Stealth. Jamili trying to find someone with those blizzards, not finding anyone though. Jamili actually gave Pedno with full sap onto Elite, looking for a 3v1 onto Jamili. It would appear death from above. A lot of burst early on onto Jamili, having to block down at 24% HP. Elite caught into that deep freeze. Moj looking to try and get a sheep, not able to get it though. Elite pops the Avenging Wrath. He stops off Jamili, looking to rotate the pressure potentially onto Moj, but with no CC on the Gex, he should be able to deal with it. Frost onto Elite. He's going to Aura Mastery out of that a bit offensively here. A lot of cooldowns burned from Elite and Jamili early on in this match, and it's not looking good.
No, it's not, man. That was a lot of damage. I mean, the Massive Spell also coming out. Elite forced to use that Wings Execution sentence, and that's going to be down in 8 more seconds. And Tempo Storm's going to be vulnerable for next setup, maybe to get Jamili's second block. And a Sacrifice coming out from Elite, preemptively trying to avoid some of the Polymorphs going out onto himself, or maybe even the damage. He actually refreshes that Hand of Sacrifice. That's both his Hand of Sacrifices. Now Moj taking a bit of pressure as Devouring Plague lands onto him as well. Gex being put through the Polymorphs, and Moj is just desperately trying to line of sight at this point. Death from above lands on the Peekaboo. It's going to get bopped, though, by Elite. Elite being very aggressive with his cooldowns, it was trying to keep his team aggressive because Moj's still not out of the water just yet. Deep Freeze lands onto Elite. Can they follow it up? Full Polymorph comes out from Moj. But it actually does get Massive Spelled, I believe, from Peekaboo. Yep. Nice Massive Spell coming out from him, keeping his Paladin in play. Double Fear coming out from Gex, however, onto Elite and Peekaboo. Jamili is all alone through all of this damage. DR Frostra onto Elite. Polymorph onto Peekaboo. He's going to get the Execution sentence off before the next CC lands onto him, and it looks like Jamili's going to be holding onto his block after all. But there's the Smoke Bomb coming out from Naj, and Elite can't heal Jamili through this, but he looks like he's comfortable because he's forcing Moj defensive, and he's going to go ahead and get gripped by Gex and back out of line of sight through the Smoke Bomb regardless. Deep Freeze now onto Elite.
Really good. The Smoke Bomb was really good defensively and offensively. It let Moj hold onto a block. Elite's going to Stone Form out of that Frostjaw. Gex goes into that full Deep Freeze. Elite into the Sheep, but once again, I think Peekaboo managed to Massive Spell it off, and these MDs from Peekaboo are really keeping his team in the game. Moj forced to use that Pain Suppression on him. Gex still getting Polymorph. Moj, it could be in trouble. He's out of line of sight, trying to hug that pillar, waiting for Gex to arrive. Might be a problem. Gex just standing still there for a second, now caught into the full fear. Moj getting silenced up. He still has both blocks. He's trying to hold on to one. Gex leaves the CC, now getting some heals up, but the block was forced nonetheless. Jamili's second block rotating up in about 46 seconds. So actually, despite looking so grim for Tempo Storm early on, this mid-game pressure from Tempo Storm is keeping them in the game. Elite actually trinketing out of that full blind, trying to throw out a full Hodge. I'm not sure where the Hodge actually went. I think Moj actually was able to blink out of it. Elite caught into that full kidney shot now. A bit of pressure on the Peekaboo. He still has dispersion. Frostjaw over onto Elite. Now into the full polymorph. Peekaboo completely alone at the moment, looking for another master spell. Gets kicked by Naj. Elite now caught into the half deep freeze, into the half sheep. Peekaboo definitely going to need to disperse here. Probably gouge over onto Jamili. Last sheep onto Elite. Peekaboo holding onto his cooldowns. Balls of steel right now from Peekaboo. There's the blessing protection to remove that kidney shot. Full fear onto Elite, and the pressure is just not stopping for
Ooh, and he
LaLouie.
stole it. He stole the bop instantly, and Peekaboo's not out of the water just yet. Saved by the Light is keeping him alive for now. Hand of Sacrifice from Elite goes out onto him, trying to prevent more follow-up, but they're trying to switch it over onto Moj, dipping down to like 15% health there for just a brief moment before catching a big heal from Gex, and Moj's pulling back for now. Polymorph goes out onto Peekaboo defensively. Deep freeze onto Elite, and the full Polymorph is going to be followed up, forcing the bubble out from Elite. Peekaboo now getting kidney shotted up. He's going to trinket it out because he wants to get aggressive. Death from above from Naj is going to keep Jamili at 70% health here. The full fear going out onto Elite. Does get mass dispelled into a Frostjaw. Peekaboo cross CC'd as well. Jamili all alone, but do they have the damage to follow it up? Doesn't look like it. The Hodge lands out onto Naj. Deep poly onto Gex. Horrifying to Moj. He's in trouble. Surely this will be his second ice block moving forward. Gex still caught into the Polymorph, and there's the second ice block. Before the Comet Storm, but this could go either way at this point, but both Disperse and block available for Tempo Storm. They got to be feeling pretty good moving forward into this game.
I think Tempo Storm is kind of sitting pretty right now, actually. LaLouie need to make something happen quick. Jamili defensively polymorphing Naj. There's the deep freeze onto Elite. Moj needs this sheep. Peekaboo denies him with the silence. Peekaboo caught into that cheap shot, though. Shadow Dance rolling for Naj. Potentially a lot of damage to follow it up. They need CC onto Elite if they want to take him down, though. There's the Frostjaw onto Elite. Moj lands the full sheep. Peekaboo has dispersion. He's got to be careful. Goes to the Spectral guys. He's going to trade out the dispersion at 37% HP, but the CC is not stopping onto Elite. The dispersion is fading. Can Gex land the fear? He connects the fear onto Elite, forcing the trinket out. Peekaboo trying to mass spell as well, not able to get it. We can see Saved by the Light proccing there, I believe, as well onto Peekaboo. So a lot of cooldowns burned through now with no trinket, no bubble, no trinket, no dispersion. Peekaboo is so vulnerable. Trinket available for Gex. Notch getting swapped over to LaLouie. Have to be a little bit careful here. But Peekaboo, I think, is completely aware of the situation. He's just pulling back with the lead. He doesn't want to overextend right now. They're just going to tee off on Naj for the time being, as Moj is back behind the pillar as well.
Yeah, play it patient, man. Absolutely. When you're that far behind in defense cooldowns and you're that vulnerable, that's what you got to do. But it looks like they want to push out here very, very shortly. At 3% dampening, this is going to get very difficult for these healers to heal through. And looking at Gex's mana at 31%, he can't heal through this forever. Deep freeze, full fear lands out onto both Naj and Gex. Then the full Hodge lands out onto Naj, as Moj is the kill target, but he has that second block available to them. Smoke bomb goes out onto Peekaboo. Death from above, dance onto Peekaboo as well, as Elite's put into that deep freeze with the wings execution set is going to negate a lot of that damage, but it's not over just yet. Full polymorph lands outside of that. The massive spell from Peekaboo onto Elite is going to negate that entire momentum from LaLouie, and Naj is forced back.
Yeah, Moj feeling the heat right now. He's got one more block remaining. Gex caught into the deep freeze. Jamili looking for the sheep. Doesn't actually manage to get it. Gex trying to pre-fear ward Peekaboo's fear. I think it did end up getting purged off. He gets a full fear onto Elite, into the full sheep. A bit of overlap, but I don't think it matters. LaLouie are looking to eliminate Tempo Storm here and now. Death from above connects. Peekaboo's got nothing left. Saved by the Light's going to proc. He's so low on HP. Goes for the MD. Gets another massive spell, but into a full deep freeze. Somehow Peekaboo's still alive. Naj just not doing enough damage here right now. Full Hodge now onto Naj. He could be getting swapped to potentially. Peekaboo still in full retreat, but he survived the storm. He's got dispersion coming up in about 7 seconds. Moj under fire, trying to stay alive here. Gex is going to be able to top him up, but now into the full sheep. Naj has Cloak of Shadows. Needs to be a little bit careful. He's overextended very far on the map right now. Forced to pull back. Actually just going to trade out that Cloak of Shadows. We see Gex moving in, sprinting across the map, looking for a full fear onto Elite potentially. There's the deep freeze, looking to shut down the sheep. He lands the full fear instead. A swap over onto Jamili. He's got one more block available, though. I don't think they're going to get anything done with this. Full kidney shot on the Peekaboo 4cc, but Elite is no longer crowd control. They land the poly. Elite's going to trick it out. Paint suppression preemptively onto Naj to deal with a swap potentially to him, but the paint suppression is going to thwart the attack from Tempo Storm, but this is so close now.
It is so close. At this point, Jamili does have a block, and Dispersion is available, but Moj taking a whole bunch of the pressure. He has one block still available, but with Gex without Paint Suppression, without Trinket, LaLouie's got to be careful going into 15% dampening at this point. Catching some heals. Naj also catching a whole bunch of damage, and Tempo Storm is just playing a very patient game at this point, not overextending unless they have the buttons to back it up when stuff hits the fan. 16% dampening. Looks like Naj is going to be pushing out here to try to get some CC out. Full blind onto Elite. They want to get aggressive, and it's actually going to get bopped off by Elite. Another cooldown used by Elite to keep himself in the game. Cheap shot onto Peekaboo, as well as the Garrote, the kick onto Jamili's Polymorph, but he's just going to try to follow it up. Full Polymorph lands onto Gex into a half Polymorph as well. Moj's the one in trouble. Devouring Play landing onto him as Gex is being put through the triple DR Polymorph into the Frostjaw. He's going to Gnome Racial out of that, and Moj is going to catch some big heals from Gex, but at 18% mana and at 19% dampening, Gex is feeling the burn. Fear goes out onto Jamili into a Polymorph. Cheap shot onto Peekaboo. Elite sitting in the background, not catching any CC just yet. Death from above coming out from Naj. They just want to rip right through it, and that's going to force the disperse as Elite is put into that full Polymorph. But at 21% dampening now. Moj's got to be careful. He has those blocks available to him, but he's holding on to it as Gex is put into the DR Frostjaw, and he's going to Polymorph Jamili's aggression up over and over and over again before he catches some heals. But look at Gex trying to heal his team through this dampening.
Yeah, with no mana left, it's actually not looking very good for LaLouie. They've got one more opportunity to strike, but Elite has Bubble to deal with it. Moj overextending a bit in center field, forced to trade out that ice block. Luckily, he still does have one more remaining. Still no dispersion for Peekaboo. Naj with no Trinket or Cloak of Shadows. He needs to be careful, and when the RMP needs to be careful in defensive, they really aren't going to be able to get anything done. Naj is looking to try and get a re-stealth. There's Deep Freeze over onto Gex, but he pre-Spectral guys did. He avoided the sheep, but the Peekaboo follows it up with the Fear. Moj's on Hypo, and Tempo Storm are tying this up 2-2, bringing it to a final game 5 where this will be decided. Who is the champion of the first round of the losers bracket, which is not as intense as I thought it was going to say, but this series is intense.
The series is super intense, man. Both of these teams playing with their tournament lives on the line, and whoever wins this final game 5 is going to take the whole series and eliminate their opponent from the entire tournament, which I think is a pretty big upset that Tempo Storm is down to the wire at this point. Tempo Storm constantly being a fan favorite, but can they bring it out against LaLouie? All right. I don't know, guys. If you guys have a fan, or if you have a favorite player or a favorite team out of these two teams, make sure that you are giving them all the energy you possibly can give at this moment, because they sure as hell need it at this point.
I think they need more than energy at this point. I mean, this is such an intense series. They have to play so many games in a row. How long can you keep playing so well is the question.
That is the question.
I think it's going to be an endurance fight here in game 5.
Absolutely. Like that, I feel like the endurance fight kind of gives the advantage to the God comp. They seem to have a lot more pressure and can rotate defensively a bit better, but I don't know. Here we go. We're going to be going into Dalaran Sewers. It's Naj, Moj, and Gex running that Rogue Mage Priest composition versus Tempo Storm's God comp, which is a Shadow Priest, Frost Mage, Holy Paladin composition. And Peekaboo, normally playing on that Rogue, is playing an alternative class and spec of a Shadow Priest. But man, he's really bringing it. He's got some sweet master spells last game that really did save his life multiple times. So can he bring it here in match point between Tempo Storm and LaLouie? Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what a LaLouie is. Do you?
I don't know what a LaLouie is.
Yeah, I don't know what a LaLouie is either. If anyone in chat knows what a LaLouie is, feel free to enlighten me. Is that the holiday that they call Christmas in Canada, or what'd you say?
Okay, David. I'm tired of this prejudice towards Canadians. I'm sending the moose to your house now.
Oh, that's messed up, man. Those things are terrifying. They're like modern time dinosaurs. They're freaking huge. Here we go. Naj, Moj, and Gex in the shroud. They're looking to get the setup going. Jamili, I think, actually caught Naj out before he could get a sap out. Moj getting feared up defensively, as well as Naj Deep Freeze Polymorph onto Gex, and Tempo Storm is just negating the opener completely from LaLouie as the damage starts on to Moj, and the cross CC is crazy. Double Ice Nova coming out from Jamili into a horror fight is going to force Moj's block here, and the opener advantage is going to go to Tempo Storm right away.
Yeah, Moj actually still in a bit of trouble here, potentially. Peekaboo has that fear coming up in about 5 more seconds. Gex is trying to avoid it on the offside of this ramp at the moment. Smoke bomb gets dropped onto Peekaboo. They're looking to try and force some cooldown. Deep freeze over onto Elite. They should get the dispersion. There's the dispersion out from Peekaboo. Elite forced to Aura Mastery, Avenging Wrath as well to heal him back up. Now rotating the pressure onto Moj, who is in retreat mode at the moment here at the ramp, but Gex is still getting CC. This could be the second block. Blind onto Jamili. Jamili's just going to cancel it. Full Fear landed onto Naj. Gex actually trinketing out as well to top off Moj, dropping down the barrier. They want to hold on to that second block as long as possible. Now with no dispersion and no block, they could go for either target here moving forward. Jamili landing a Froster onto Gex, trying to keep some CC moving here, keep some pressure onto Moj, but now with that CC ending, they should be able to top him off. Full kidney shot onto Elite, cheap shot onto Peekaboo, Poly onto Jamili, 3v1 onto Peekaboo. Elite needs to save him. He's going to bubble, throws out the blessing and protection with that Saved by the Light shield. Peekaboo will survive through another setup, but for the next one, they really only have Elite's trinket remaining.
Oh my gosh, this definitely can go either way. I mean, Moj has one block available, but Gex without the trinket. This is scary. Horrify onto Moj. Ice Nova's connecting onto him as well, as Gex is going to go ahead and use that Gnome Racial to heal him up. And it looks like Moj is going to be okay moving forward into the game. Naj actually getting a Nova'd in place by Jamili's pet. Jamili getting polymorphed up way out in the open here. It's going to be put into a fear from Gex. Elite into the cheap shot. Peekaboo all alone once again. Elite's going to go ahead and bop. Trinket bop Peekaboo out of that kidney shot. But now he's put into the half polymorph regardless as the Growth goes out onto Peekaboo. Moj has that bob stolen back on him. Silence goes out onto Moj into the Horrify. Tempo Storm wants to swap this pressure back around in their favor. Peekaboo's going to have that disperse in 30 more seconds, but he has to survive until then to be able to get there. And can he do it? There's a kidney shot onto Peekaboo. Elite preemptively Hannah sacrificed it to avoid more CC going out, but Moj's last ice block is going to be forced in the background.
Yep, and dispersion is coming off CD in about 15 seconds. They have to pull the trigger in 10 more seconds. Can Moj get the CC he needs to end this? It looks like they're playing it patiently, and if they play it patiently, dispersion's going to come up, and now there's still too much pressure. Moj just going down. Insurmountable damage coming out from Tempo Storm. Gex is desperately trying to heal. He cannot deal with it, and Tempo Storm says, "What's up? We're going to take this 3-2 and advance and eliminate LaLouie." Despite it looking close, that was just so much damage.
Yeah, I mean, Gex left the CC there, but the damage just could not stop from Tempo Storm, and down Moj goes. GG's are called from Tempo Storm as LaLouie is eliminated from the tournament, but you got to go ahead and tip your hats to LaLouie as they played so very well, making it out of the qualifiers here and putting Tempo Storm on the ropes of elimination. Shout out goes to Naj, Moj, and Gex. Those guys are unbelievable. And holy crow, if those guys picked up a fourth player on their roster, they could be downright terrifying. But shout out goes to them. They played so well, qualifying on Wednesday and competing here today. But there we have it, Tempo Storm